welcome to the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, A Level Playing Poem, Amish, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, Effie Patriot, On the Level, Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, the names Burley, Twadwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mels 24, Unimento, M Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dang. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. With that, I'm going to hand across to whoever is in Discord and Politics Discord server and G+, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
But you're missing out, okay? You're missing out on my singing, buddy.
No, we're not.
Yeah, okay. Whatever you say, Jedi. Should I say Jetty?
No,
Should I say
don't.
Jetty?
No, don't. Please don't.
Okay, well, then you're not missing out if you say so, Jetty.
Thank God. Oh, for fuck's sake. I can just about tolerate that from QE. Just about on a good day.
That's why I said it.
I just wrote my note on Flatsy, so we'll see how long this goes. Just kidding.
I have a pretty good singing voice. You don't have somebody on here that's just like,
No.
I got a good singing voice. I've got one. I can
Yeah, we
sing
do.
something.
Yeah, we do.
And I
We
can
got
sing something relevant too.
Castle
Okay.
Queen thinks he can sing too. Castle Queen.
But he isn't doing something relevant.
Yeah, he's a face on Call of Duty.
Although I did love his entry to the singing contest. The only reason why I know who Castle King is because he beat me in the singing competition, guys. Like, I didn't win because he beat me.
Well,
And I'm okay with him beating me. I'm
yeah,
cool with that.
Yeah, it sounds like
Shout
it.
out to Elijah Freeman. Boy, you got a voice and a half. I hope he starts using it more because that man can sing and he can
Well,
flow.
he didn't enter
He's
the
got rhythm.
contest. Is all
Thank
I know.
you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome,
Stacy.
honey.
Hey,
Much love,
Stacy.
my bro.
Flatsy, don't compete with men.
It's a good point. It's a good point because I got second place to Castle King.
Did you have a dance?
It's like you're trying to fly a helicopter.
But Castle King was kind of precious, man. The whole time we were competing, he had the most precious attitude. Like, I couldn't compete like with his attitude. So when it came to the singing, it didn't matter who sang best. His attitude was awesome.
Being as Castle King beat you in a singing competition, does that mean that the Earth is a globe now, Flatsy? Did you let us down?
No. I didn't say that.
Came second. Flat Earther versus Globe Earther, and you lost.
Nah, it's okay that I didn't win the
Not good
whole thing.
We're
So
all
I
really
didn't win. We could have benefited from me winning, but what
Yeah, we didn't.
chances But what chances did I have of winning?
We didn't. Well,
Really?
that's down to you. You came second. You've let us all down.
Yeah,
Flatsy.
but I said that I was
Should be
representing flat
ashamed.
Earth.
Be
I
ashamed.
said that, by the way. I was representing 24/7 Flat Earth Discord. And
you
we have
came
a channel.
second.
And before I ever sang a note,
You
they
came
knew
second.
that.
You came second.
Yeah, I did. I totally did. It was bad. For me, not for Castle King. He came first.
Castle King's been in and said because he won the competition that the Earth is obviously
Yeah,
flat.
he won, and I'm not mad about it. He was kind of precious, man. He was stinking precious.
I am mad about it. The Earth's a globe. He proved it by.
I mean, I know the Earth is a sphere, or not a sphere. What
You
the
think Castle King can sing?
Yeah, he can sing. He's good.
I'm stunned. He can barely talk.
He's really good
Come
at
on,
singing.
man. He always comes and sings all the time when he jumps in.
He's really good at singing, so you kind of missed out
Yeah.
if you didn't know that about him.
Yeah, I'm stunned. I'm really stunned.
He beat me in a singing competition.
That's even more stunning.
Do Americans get sarcasm?
I feel like I'm in an absolute like alternate reality, like something just time shifted into another plane of existence.
Well, I would like to say that he is pretty popular on this app or this channel.
We must be talking about the wrong person. You're talking
Castle
about
King
the
that
guy who
we
plays video
deal with.
games.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm not talking about the wrong person.
The PlayStation.
I'm talking
guy.
about the same person.
The PlayStation dude.
Yeah, he's the same person. He
Yeah, I'm
beat
stunned.
me in a singing competition. And also, he was thinking precious because he was telling people, you should go out there and you should sing, get your confidence up. He was like motivating people to get out there and do it. And I wasn't doing that. I was just like kind of like coattailing off of him doing it because he beat me to it, you know?
You know how to sing Over the Hills and Far Away, Flatsy?
You guys should have been there. If you weren't there, you don't know. And I did a good job. I actually could have gotten first,
You
but
didn't know.
he beat me.
You didn't. Did you? You came second, didn't you?
Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear
No.
the two songs that I sang?
Why would I want to listen to second grade singing? You came second, Flatsy. It's not good.
You're
enough.
an asshole.
Yes.
You competed against a man and lost, and
I was the second. Yeah, I was second place. Yeah, you got me.
It's not good enough. We're all very disappointed.
Yeah, but I shouted out 24/7 Flat Earth Discord when I performed. Before I even performed my first song,
Oh,
I
great. So
shouted
the
you guys
runner-up
out.
shouted us out.
You're welcome. You're welcome, by the way.
You're welcome. What does that mean?
I'm just kidding.
Some kind of sabotage
I'm trying
thing?
to be relevant. I guess I'm just trying to be relevant. I did shout out 24/7 Flat Earth Discord, by the way. I did do that.
That's why you lost.
No, I got second place, buddy.
Lost.
What was the timeline of the shout out? Was that before or after the winner was declared?
It doesn't really. I don't know. You're talking about to the server. I shouted it out before I even sang the first song.
Okay, Duncan's onto something.
No, I shouted 24/7 Flat Earth Discord before I
so
sang the first
immediately
song.
they're like, well, she's not going to win.
I did the. I shouted it out, buddy, because I sang Patsy Cline, the first song, and I sang Crazy.
You get it. So you shouted out 24/7 Flat Earth, and then you sung Crazy, and you came second. Well done.
I got no.
Well, I mean, you're already disgruntled that you're constantly in first around here. I'm not going to give you another first place.
No, that's not what happened. Okay, I got a recall. So I got to go back and sing again for this competition. So they gave me a second try along with Castle King. He was one of the 3 that got a call back. And I got to go back and sing again. And I sang Jeremiah by Sierra Farrell.
You came second.
Second
Yeah,
place.
I came second.
Maybe try singing in E flat next time. You might come first.
Dude, I did a good job. Do you want to hear me sing the songs that I submitted?
No.
You don't.
No.
You act like you don't, but the server did.
You sound like you're on pain meds.
This is now.
Take a breather.
Nobody wants to hear you sing.
Yeah, but the server did want to hear what I sang.
Flatsy, remember where you are. Remember what's going on. No, we're not going to listen.
Right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Not going to listen to you sing.
Yeah, I got to calm down.
Chateau de Torquelot, 1976.
You guys being the shitheads are the ones that got me riled up, so don't forget it.
Mic check.
Mike's fine. Welcome to the show.
How are you, Jedi? How are you, Tent? How are you, One Deck? How are you, everyone?
We're all good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Hey, Neil. How are you?
It's Neil.
Yes, Neil.
I love these awkward silences.
What was that?
Say what? Welcome, Neil. I hope you're doing well, buddy. If there's anybody else on Nathan, I'll probably welcome Nathan as well. Good afternoon, Nathan. Welcome to our little channel here on the Politics Server. It's good to have you and your merry little band with us if you're there. I see that Neil's there, but welcome, everyone. Hope you're all doing well.
Having us.
We're just berating Flatsy.
Good job, because all I had to do was sing the songs, by the way.
Nah.
Next time, shout out Flat Earth after you win.
Yeah, they're sick of us winning around here, you know.
Yeah, but I got plenty of time to
It was
sing
a politics server that
before
turned into a
Nathan
flat Earth
Oakley.
server. They're salty about it, you know.
Yeah, but Nathan Oakley's show doesn't start for like 7 minutes. I could sing both songs right now that got me
Nobody
second
wants
place.
that.
Hold on a second. We got 50 people now in the room, 2 streams running. How many does Nathan have?
Even better, I could definitely do it in front of all these people.
Yeah, we're just going to try to YouTubers and all that. You know, get your Globers in here. Today's the day.
Today's the day what?
For them to finally prove that they live on a ball. Today is the day.
Or Flatsy can prove she got second place.
I've heard you sing on the other server. You're wonderful.
Oh, you're precious.
So what are we on to now, Redwin? If we taking the question back, are we getting people to define what a line is and the difference between a straight line and a curved line? Is that where we're at now?
I've got the card now. It's got 4 choices on it.
Good stuff.
Number 3 is going to be an interesting one for him. Because although it is straight, it's dotted.
Oh my goodness.
It's not a straight line.
They always talk about straight lines, aren't they? Never mention curvature.
The curve is always just out of view. You can never actually see it.
It's usually flat, their curve, and measured that way.
Maybe you need to take a test then. Let's see if you can. No, I'm not going to spoil it.
I will.
No,
Nice.
we got to save it for the right time. It's got to be right at the right time, and everything falls into place.
I know.
Immediately following these tests, people usually call us names, and they quit the server or do something else.
I
Good morning.
know. I'm not a spoiler. I don't want to spoil it.
Just want to
What do you
see
mean?
if
What do
anybody
you
can
mean with something else?
answer
Which is-
My
one.
husband is a spoiler. Man, my husband is a spoiler. He will happily be a spoiler to like a movie that everybody's looking forward to. He'll do it. So be careful. Do not like him or follow him on any social media.
Well, that was a close call for me, huh? I almost followed him.
You don't even know his name.
Don't.
Sterling is not enough. Actually, all of you flat earthers could know who Sterling is if you paid attention. It's not hard.
Good morning. Good morning.
Horizon.
Morning.
Hello, Nathan.
Good afternoon.
Hello. After my intro,
Alright,
very,
then.
very quickly realised it probably wasn't a good idea to have a piece of chewing gum in my mouth. Got to try and stop swearing, and somebody suggested if I'm chewing gum, it might help. 1 second into the intro, I'm like, no, this isn't a good idea. How's everyone in politics? You all good?
Yeah, we're very well, thank you, Nathan. Just been listening to Flatsy for the last half an hour, and it's been a relatively good morning so far. A few interesting conversations through the night. Yeah, it's been
Oh,
good.
thank you. You're so precious.
Shut
You
up,
know,
Flats.
I'm gonna tell you, Jedi, you're stinking precious.
Thanks, mate.
Everybody that listens to you, like flat smack all of these globetards, it's so good. I mean, it's one of those things where you're just like, that tastes so good in my mouth, and other people don't have that.
Family show.
Thing is, Flatsy, they flat smack themselves, mate, when they're explaining how curvature is measured, because they will be referencing angles, elevation angles, horizontal horizons, sea levels, altitude above sea level. These are the things and terminology they use when they're trying to explain how they live on a globe. It's hilarious.
I mean, I get that. I know what you're saying, One Deck, but I'm saying that Jedi has a way, like he's got a way of getting through to these people, and you can either tell if they're, receptive to the information, or they're just willing retards.
Let's ask the question. Hold on, one deck. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
No. That's why they go to the center of the earth. They don't live on a circle or a globe.
It's hard to unsee that once you know that. So all the diagrammatical examples of orbital motion are depicted from within the centre of Earth at the equatorial plane. So for you to visualise this as an audience member, or if you're in politics, if you imagine the sun-centric system being drawn out on a drawing, and you've got like a line that shows the orbital path that is claimed to be the mathematics of the Earth's movement around the sun, that line will dissect Earth. In other words, Earth's sitting with the line going through it, because that's how the motion's described, from the centre of hell, because that's how it's mathematically originating in a measurement of a flat Earth to translate it into those maths of orbital motion. So you're always in hell. You can't unsee it once you know it. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
No. Been asking for 10 years now, and most definitely not.
Any space believers in Discord? I had people moaning about Candace Owens, saying, essentially, during her interview with Bart Sabrell, she covered the fake moon landing, but really didn't get to the nub of any of the actual issues at hand with the consequences therein, or fake space in general, or what they might be faking going forward. Did anybody see her discuss it? I didn't actually see her talking with Bart Sabrell. Did anybody see Candace Owens talking with Bart Sabrell?
Nope.
Props to Bart Sabrell for getting in front of her. I'll have to catch up with that. Like I say, I've had several people talking about it. No Candace Owens fans in the Discord server, I take it?
Who threw the sucker punch? Candace or Bart?
Oh, John.
I was just wondering why the most prominent people in this community are people that are not flat earthers. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, like Bart Sabrell.
Yeah, I'm sure that she brought him on there to talk about flat Earth, or in relation to flat Earth and the moon landings, right?
What's that got to do with flat Earth? Exactly.
Nothing. But it's a topic that's thrown in with it, because as soon as you tell a glober that Earth's flat, they'll say, so they didn't go to the moon then, huh?
Right, so it's almost a preemptive reaction to what somebody might say if you suggested Earth's flat to them, and it deals with their rebuttal preemptively. Talking about moon landing hoaxes.
Yeah. Just the appearance that there's an argument to be had.
They talk about a lot of things, don't they, the Globers? That's got nothing to do with the measurement of Earth, like lights in the sky, things like that. But they never actually try and explain. Well, they do actually try and explain how Earth curve is measured, and they end up telling you how it's measured horizontal, flat, with angles, elevation angles using sea level, which is, I know I keep saying it, but I just find it hilarious.
Yeah, there's something else you can't unsee or unhear. Once you know that, every time one of your opponents on the globe side starts rattling off their claim to be measurements of Earth to suggest they've got a proof of a spherical claim, they rattle off a few flat Earth measurements to you. Start telling you about how high they are off surface level and things like that.
I don't think they don't realise they're doing it. I mean, I don't know how they're doing it so blasé, or they're actually so dumb they don't realise when they're explaining that they're using the elevation angle from sea level and the horizon and horizontal altitude above sea level. They're using all this terminology, And in their mind, they really do think they're explaining how they're measuring curvature.
Yeah, we should really put it out as a request. If you're a globe believer, can you stop using flat Earth measurements to assert that either Earth's spherical or Earth is not flat? It's really irritating. Stop using our measurements.
Who was that glober that come in and said these angle measurements aren't from a plane? Might have been Timmy Clown.
Might have been. He was in recently. I think he was in. Was he in here or was he in QE show? I forget. So is everybody in this server now flat then? They've all given it up. The ball nonsense.
The majority of people in here are flat. I think everybody else who's a glober is probably too scared to speak at this moment in time.
You can tell them about what happened with Embo, Jedi.
Oh, Embo, yeah, he retired in actual fact. He came in and split up with us. Yeah, that was a bit weird, but Embo has decided not to be a part of the Globe Earth, Flat Earth community anymore. So there's a few of them that are taking a bow, which has been quite good.
It's because it's mentally hard to deal with if you're a globe believer. Very hard.
Yep.
Painful even.
What? Even after the final hashtag experiment? They're bowing down and leaving?
Yeah.
Somebody got in touch and said that Will Duffy's doing something else in summer. And then they pointed out that, so the final experiment isn't an experiment and it wasn't final then.
Thanks, Will.
What do you expect from a fraud?
More fraud.
Well, the experiment was, I think, to observe if there were any guns in Antarctica, right?
Yeah, very important housekeeping question that we ask regularly.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't an experiment. It was an observation of holes in the ground measuring angles of shadows on the surface of the horizontal plane. McToonstonies did that, didn't he?
Yeah, McToon measured Earth flat down there, as did they all. They all levelled their tools to a plane of reference.
Well, I think that the hypothesis is if no guns, Earth ball.
That's
I think
shotgun
the
approach.
hypothesis would be what causes there to be no guns?
Yeah.
Simple answer. Simple answer. Democrats.
Probably not a government sanctioned tourism type thing. Maybe that would stipulate no guns.
I mean, the sentiment of an 8-year-old comment that Toon scoured the internet to found was in regards to your ability to just go down there. As in just, I'm going to go to Antarctica today. Now, likewise, if you tried to cross any border without permission, there's going to be people who are going to say no and attempt to stop you. So what is ironic in this regard, it's no real relevance to us, but on the one hand, the guys who went down to TFE want to lecture their audiences about how complicated it was and how many forms they had to fill in and all the things they had to go down there. And you're like, what if you didn't have them? Still go, right? And then what's the conversation following that? At what point, if you don't comport with what they demand you must do to go there, do they say, it doesn't matter. It's all right, on you go anyway. Yeah? Or do they say, no, well, you can't go then? And if you carry on and go, well, I'm going anyway, what are you going to do? Shoot me? But who cares? The Earth's measured flat in Antarctica. This is a complete red herring. And that was what it was in McToon's back pocket as, a red herring. What about your 10K flat Earth challenge measurements, Toon? 100 at the time being asked, where's the guns, is the response. He doesn't want to deal with Earth being measured flat by himself, does he?
they've explained it away that he was kind of in a mental break with reality because the sun 24 hours had affected his state of mind. Like he was like seriously sleep deprived. Like all his theta waves had just depleted. So he just started like incoherent babbling.
Did you say he was?
Those are lyrics for a new song now. His theta waves were bumbling.
What did you say about that? What did you say about reality, McToon?
Yeah, a complete break with reality. He was delusional. He was basically in a dream state.
Well, hang on. So he measures the Earth flat, which causes the condition because he thinks he lives on the globe.
No, I'm talking about the call that when he called you guys and started just overwhelming screeching about where the guns are.
What I'm saying. You're not getting what I'm saying. Underlying.
Oh, okay.
He is in a complete break of reality because he has a show where he measures the Earth flat and he says, oh, it is triangulation. Like he's shocked to find out that's not curved at all.
It's obvious that you have to shut down.
Yeah, shut your channel, shut your.
Oh, yeah. God, it's so eloquent, you know, like the dude's Shakespearean with his typing.
Well, slow though the start is, if there are any ballers that had any questions or wanted to get anything off their chest, feel free. Notice there's people in the live stream chat saying to ballers, you can just go on. Someone saying, oh, the globies get muted here or something to that effect. No, this is politics Discord server that we're in today. I don't run it. Not that I run the server that we're typically in. That's not mine either. This definitely isn't mine. I'm a guest here. Sorry to politics. I'm talking to my live stream audience. Very rude.
Is it possible that they think losing a debate is being muted?
Yes. Muted equals lost badly. Happened yesterday. I came into politics yesterday.
What a shock.
Hank Hill was in here winning. And obviously he's a very patient man, taking his time as the person chants through each attempt to get his point across. And at the point of conclusion, the hand wave begins. So I stepped in and was like, well done, Hank Hill. Excellent job. Because the opponent doesn't want to acknowledge it. In fact, they want to steal his victory on the spot. Yeah? That's how it is for glurfs. And if you don't allow them to completely steal your victory, you muted them. Oh, we only won because he muted what? During the conclusion of my victory? When you wouldn't shut up?
Yeah. They muted equals lost debate. So whenever they say muted, just think of that. And it's a lot easier to go with. Tell you what, it's not like they'd invite you on their platform, let somebody speak for 25 minutes, and when you go to rebut them, you get 2 sentences out before you're muted. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Or talk straight through. So yesterday I summarised Hank Hill's victory and started to correct some of the incorrect assertions made by his opponent about gravity being a force. Obviously, I started getting spoken through. Then I started to tell the guy off, and do you know what he did? Put himself on server deafen. In other words, stuck his fingers in his ears. So everybody had to tolerate his utter garbage that was wrong for 20 straight minutes, while Hank Hill was patient with him, interrupting him constantly. And then when it comes to the point, well, now let's correct what you said that was wrong, he's not tolerant of it. Bricks. They don't like being wrong. They especially don't like being told how wrong they are by a flurf about their own bloody religion. I'm sure before the live stream's over, we'll have somebody from the Discord server feel compelled to tell us about how they believe they're on a ball and we should feel the same as they do.
Yep, just give it time.
Maybe
You
they
know
can
how it
tell us
goes.
about it.
Give it 20, 30 minutes or so of just speaking about the flat earth and the obvious measured empirical truth of the matter. Somebody will get triggered eventually and somebody will pipe up.
Are you talking about time as an independent variable, or give it time, write some letters, give it time and you'll feel better.
None of that, please.
And
Don't want a copyright
soon
strike.
they will fade from your mind. Okay.
That didn't sound like a sandwich.
It was the best I could do.
That
for
didn't
you
sound like a
people
clean oven.
on the internet.
Very sexist, outrageous. If you're watching, Paula, from the chat, put your fingers in your ears. What about Ethereum?
Right, then the Earth's flat, and it's all been dealt with. There's nothing else to do there, guys. It's over.
Have you had any influx of other flat earthers in politics since TFE? Like Ethereans, Umis, things like that?
Yeah. There's a little bit of pain within some flat earthers. Maybe the flat earth believers, as we're called. But yeah, there's been a little bit of that pain. Yeah, a couple of arguments between flat earthers, I think. Part of the game. I think that's part of the reason why the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, the TFE, is kind of the straw man that they've been building for the last 10 years or so. So there's going to be a bit of a fallout for some people seeing what they believed, even though it was a straw man, their reality being kind of demolished.
Getting told off, guys, in politics, specifically the one who was sexist. Elric from the chat says, Paula's not the only woman here. And see her drumming her fingers while she types that. Yeah, less of the sexism. I blame Flatsy.
It was part of a different conversation.
See, you don't have to blame Flatsy. It doesn't have to be Flatsy's fault. I can actually sing these songs, okay?
You are right. It doesn't have to be Flatsy's fault. However, I will be blaming...
But just let it be Flatsy's fault.
That's correct.
It's Flatsy's fault.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. Good morning.
Yeah.
Very, very laid back.
Yes,
There's no fighting. There's nothing. This is the most relaxed I've been all week on the show.
And also no bad mic.
Oh, it's Bad Mike in jail now.
Yes.
He's a very bad
Mike
man.
in jail. What's up?
Sky.
Standard.
Mic standards.
Right, although it is very slow here today in my live stream, there's 86 people watching. Please share the show. I'm sure it'll pick up shortly. We shall see. Someone will want to get my blood pressure rising, whatever the term is.
Can I try to egg them out a little bit?
Yes, to rise. Get my blood pressure to rise. That was the word. Go ahead, John.
What
would anybody like to discuss the
No, you're
locally
going to get
flat-
immediately rumpused by Eli. Absolutely outrageous. And I hear he's a crap singer. Go ahead, John.
I was just going to invite any globe believer to talk about the locally flat plane that we measure. If you would like to expand on that, we're all ears.
Anybody in politics familiar with measuring Earth locally flat? ... Because it's a ball. Feel free.
I like the way you said and expand on that, because they will be expanding on that locally flat Earth also.
Or maybe not. I mean, obviously, we can carry on in total silence also. It doesn't matter. Either's good. Just start coming in on random days.
Yes, that might be a good idea.
Because yesterday when I came in, it was all kicking off. And to be perfectly blunt, yesterday's pre-show in politics is better than today's live show. No offence.
Nathan,
yeah, no.
I just sent you some slides. Let's pick it up. I'd like to, if you want to show it in Master B on this platform.
We can do. You want to do a slideshow? Okay.
I just sent it. Sent it to you. Let's pick it up.
Yeah, go on then. It's up. Absolutely trustworthy. You can trust God's science, right?
Yeah, let's start with that one. Once I see it on screen, I could go.
Okay, just bear in mind, politics can't see this, so try and keep it brief.
Oh. All
right.
So this is a Bible teacher, John Barnett. He's a very good Bible teacher, but when it comes to something like this, he makes awful mistakes. And so he's got a series on science in the Bible. I thought, okay, I'll go listen to it. Then he said something, and I responded, and I said, can you please share which verse in the Bible you are referencing that specifically states the earth is rotating, ? I have trouble referencing it. Thank you. The first response from somebody says, simple observation and grade school mathematics proves the earth isn't flat.
That's Job 12:17.
Did I ask a question about earth being flat? I don't think so.
He asked about Bible verse, and he's giving it you quite clear and simple. You know, Job 17:12. Quote, simple observation and grade school mathematics prove the earth isn't flat. Lo, he saith to him.
I respond, he said the Bible states, meaning the teacher, the earth rotates on its axis. What verses in the Bible is he referring to? Next slide, please. So I did hear for quite a while. Then I say, I'm still waiting for the scriptures that our good teacher referenced from the Bible, that the earth rotates on its axis. I have done a search through the scriptures and can't locate chapter and verse. Thank you. Next slide, please. So I wait a little longer. How long will it take for my question to be answered? ? So I timestamp John Barnett's statement right here from 25:16 all the way to 25:39. And he says, unified message, but not only that, any one of the 40 authors that ever declared a single scientific statement, a statement like the earth is a sphere, that it rotates on an axis and it hangs out on nothing in the universe, nothing supporting it. That's a scientific statement that was made in the earliest writings of the Bible, in the book of Job, which is probably around right after the flood, 4000 BC. So you can see he did say it. He said it's in the Bible, but he hasn't answered my question. Next slide. So I respond, waiting still longer for it. I'm still waiting for a reply from John Barnett for the scripture references that he has not cited, but attributed to the Bible, ? Okay, last slide on this guy. I think waiting this long for a simple scripture reference is only proving that John must have spoke outside of what scripture actually teaches us. An exegete interprets text by drawing out their original meaning, while an eisegete projects their own interpretation onto the text. So sad, my brother. Haven't heard anything, haven't checked. Had plenty of time to back up what you're saying. Couldn't do it from the Bible. Any comments before we go to Danny Faulkner?
No.
Okay.
Danny's my favorite.
Next slide. This is a book Danny is selling, Create a Cosmos, What the Bible Reveals About Astronomy. Next slide, highlighted in blue. Yet, on at least 2 occasions in recorded history, the Lord miraculously intervened in the movement of heavenly bodies in order to accomplish his purposes. In Joshua chapter 10, the Lord apparently halted the rotation of the earth so that the Israelite army would continue to have daylight and be able to complete the route of their enemies, the wicked Amorites, as such. The writer of Joshua concludes succinctly, there's been no day like it before or since the Lord fought for Israel, Joshua 10:14. Notice that Danny Faulkner said that the Lord apparently halted the rotation of the earth.
By apparently, does he mean he made that up and superimposed it on top of what the text actually said?
Yes, he's eisegeting as well, like John Barnett did earlier, not letting the text say what it says. Okay, similarly, in 2 Kings 20 and cross-reference 2 Chronicles 32 and Isaiah 38, the Lord caused a reversal of the earth's rotation, such that the shadow cast on the steps of Ahaz progressed opposite to its normal direction. The miracle was given as a sign of the Lord's promise to heal Hezekiah from a deadly disease. In both cases, we observed that God altered the motion of at least one of the heavenly bodies, effectively suspending, and then says by supernatural means, of course, the physical laws at play. Despite efforts to account for these events in terms of purely natural phenomena, no compelling explanations have been set forth. Yet, this is truly unnecessary. After all, we must realize, for the God who created everything in the heavens, the miraculous suspension of physical laws so as to bring about his purposes in these rare instances is really nothing at all. Both these astronomical anomalies are discussed in more detail in chapter 6 of this book. So in both cases, they say the Earth's rotation on an axis or halted the rotation of the Earth. But the scriptures never say that. So the reason I bring this up is because I caught a part of that show where he and Will Duffy and the other guy from Answers in Genesis were calling us, flat earthers, a cult because we use measurements to make a point or an argument. So can you be a cult if your supporting database is a measurement? I mean, I take a measurement and I get to be called a cult now. When they go into the Bible, instead of exegeting, they eisegete, put their own opinion in and change the word of God. That's what cults do. Cults are based around a charismatic leader or an ideology that's opposite of the Bible when we're talking about religious cults. So we have Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's very charismatic, and then he says things, but he's not claiming to be a Christian. Then we got Christians who are astronomers or Bible teachers who say things that aren't in the Bible. The last slide that I have here is also from Answers in Genesis. And this is them referring to NASA going back through their mathematical, historical whatever to say these are what the luminaries did thousands of years ago, and we know it by this or that. And this is what he says. The fact that NASA computers have not proved the account of Joshua's long day does not mean that there was no miracle at the Battle of Gibeon, as recorded in the book of Joshua. We know that God's word is inspired. Well, really, God's word is inspired, but you had to add something to it. Both of them did. Therefore, we know that the Bible is authoritative in all things. That's right. for a Christian it is, including history. Since Joshua 10:12-14 tells us God performed this miracle, we can be assured that indeed he did perform this miracle. I absolutely know he did. As Joshua 10:14 described it, there's been no day like it before or since. My question is, why do these modern Christian leaders who are affected by scientism have to go and eisegete scripture when the scripture doesn't say it? Why can't they just exegete and let us just hear God's word the way God authoritatively spoke to the prophets? I'm done.
I agree 100%.
Tent, did you call that pseudoscientism or scientism?
I said scientism, but pseudoscientism, all of that, obviously, if it's not the scientific method and they want to steal the valor of it and say they actually performed an experiment when they haven't.
What's up, brother? Good to hear you, bro.
Okay. It certainly didn't trigger anyone from the Discord server, unfortunately.
We do had a couple of requests in the side chat, just waiting patiently to speak, but I haven't had any replies to asking them if they're ready. But Terence, if you're by your microphone, my friend, this might be a good opportunity because you wanted to speak. I asked you earlier. If you're next to your microphone, my friend, just say hi so we know you're there.
Okay, hi there. Can you hear me?
Terence. Yeah, we can hear Terence. Welcome to the show. I'll pass you over to Nathan. Nathan, this is Terence. Terence, this is Nathan.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi there. This is my first time on the Discord, but I'm pleased to be here.
Cool. Did you have a question?
Well, it's kind of a general question, but yeah, my situation is I've been interested in the topic for some time, and I'm keen to learn. I've gravitated to the channel here because of your stance and the angle of the Earth is measured flat. That makes sense to me. And I'm at a situation where I'd like to learn more. But I've been watching a lot of the shows, but I find a lot of it, I'm just looking for somewhere where I can go and learn about what you're saying. For instance, about the fact that the Earth is mapped by looking at the stars, and I'm just looking for a way that I can learn about that. I'm finding when I watch the shows, a lot of it's going over my head, and just looking for somewhere to start.
I've actually got a book coming out, hopefully by Easter. That would be an excellent place to start, but I can't flog it yet. So
that's very frustrating. I want it now. Yeah, that would be perfect. I did hear you mention that, and
most of my.
I mean, you know, there's got to be other sources out there, right? The problem is is that I'm minded to get a book about the night sky or something. But how do you do that with avoiding them talking about lots of nonsense, you know?
Well, you can't. I mean, we got 10th, the guy who was talking a moment ago on the panel, and he spent quite literally thousands of dollars on books about the sky and about navigation. And often in those books that were presented to us, they're being presented from the position that their author believes Earth's a sphere, will explain how Earth's measured flat, and then on page 125 justify how you could use those flat Earth measurements with respect to a ball. Here's the complicated process that would be required to do so. So you will get nonsense in these books. Most of the things that are flashing by on my screen at the moment to audiences describing flat planes have come from globe-leaning books, if you want to call them that. Right, 10th? I'm just queuing my compadre to...
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to forget...
Hold on, Flatsy.
I don't want to forget this
Flatsy,
point,
hold on.
at least.
Flatsy, thanks. Go ahead, 10th.
Yeah, to the caller, welcome to the show, and keep searching. Yeah, all the books on celestial navigation or sextants, anything, is always referencing a plane of reference where it's 0 to 90 degrees. Now, you can't have 0 to 90 degrees on the globe's surface in navigation because each degree is a distance in nautical miles. So if you're referencing the full 90 degrees, say a star or sun at the horizon from the zenith of the observer holding the sextant, that would equate to 5,400 nautical miles on that frame of reference, which is a 180 straight angle. So can you possibly have 5,400 nautical miles on the surface of Earth if it's curving 8 inches per mile square according to their 3959 radius of their paradigm globe? No, the answer is obviously not. So this locally flat doesn't make sense because locally flat is whatever degree times 60 nautical miles on the plane of reference. Remember, you're using a plane of reference because you're referencing that plane. They never use curvature to reference anything. So in all the books, they're proving flat Earth, but they're doing a transformative equation as refracted curvature, who's on the show now, proved with his kitchen. He turned his kitchen floor into a globe by doing the same trick they do after measuring Earth flat.
Well, that sounds like a very succinct explanation. It's still, I'm finding it hard to process. I just need to,
I'll tell you why.
Take some time and think through it.
I'll tell you why if you give me a minute. You're new to the subject.
Okay.
You want the full answer right away. It's not going to be that way. You have to put time, some sweat equity into it. So yes, it's hard to process now. I'm almost done. It's hard to process now, just like it was when I went through my first navigation book. But keep at it. You will process it.
Yeah, that's okay. Fair enough. I'm willing to do it. It's just, I just don't know where to start because, like you say, I've been looking for books where to start, and I'm worried that 90% of it's going to be nonsense. But then I've watched a lot of, I watched quite a few videos on the channel here, on Nathan's channel and QE as well. But I did find that it was, a lot of the discussion always started, I couldn't get on the ladder, it was sort of, always started at a particular level and I just needed to learn the basics. So, yeah, but I just need to, find some books, like you say, and sit down and go through it. Celestial navigation books, that sounds like a bit of I don't want to learn how to navigate by the stars, but perhaps that's necessary, is it?
Well, necessary for knowing Earth's measured flat, if that's the process. I mean, the title of the book that's coming out is All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth. In other words, it doesn't really matter which measurement you pick. At some point, if you're referencing Earth, it will be measured flat. So at this point, you're like, well, where do I begin to find a measurement that proves Earth's flat? Well, all of them. You just have to do a little bit of digging in any of them and you'll eventually find your way to a flat Earth, hence the title of the book being All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth, because they do. All measurements of Earth are flat.
This may bend your mind a little bit, but even Earth curve mathematics that are the basis of their belief of a physical or a geometric obstruction utilizes Earth as a flat plane.
Yeah, I've heard that said before, and I can believe it. So I just like to look forward to looking into this myself and starting. And it sounds like you're saying celestial navigation is getting a book on that is a good place to start.
Yeah, maybe
Perhaps I'll do that.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of the information about that's boiled down in terms of what we do cover. But I would say, actually, yes, 10th celestial navigation information is fantastic. And it's taken me personally a long time to take it in from 10th, who's got, as I say, about £5 worth of books or £5,000 worth of investment in celestial navigation books to be able to give us some of that information. So maybe not from that point of view. However, what John just said, or refracted curvature just said to you, is probably more pertinent because it's a relation to what I said, which is if you look close enough, you'll see a flat Earth measurement, and Earth curve has a measurement from surface level, your height, and the difference between the parallel eye level and surface level. Well, all of the things I've just said exist in Earth curve mathematics and require Earth be a flat plane. So your height above surface level that's inputted into Earth curve maths requires you actually acquire how high you are off a plane, because the difference that you're going to calculate requires a parallel eye level parallel with what? Surface level. So there's several flat Earth measurements that have to take place for you to assert that you can see curve below surface level in their maths. So I would say the best place to start is actually looking at how Earth is measured flat in Earth curve mathematics, because their extrapolation of Earth curve comes from measuring the surface flat. That would be where I would begin.
That's really helpful. Is this to do with the fact that it's a triangle and it's necessary to measure an angle, and an angle has to be two straight lines? Is that it?
Not exactly. I mean, it's unlike the elevation angle. This is a depression angle. So you're calculating how much the horizon, which is where the surface, which you're raising up from and measuring your height from, how much your parallel eye level will dip to that surface level once you raise above it. That's how the mathematics of Earth curve, claimed to be the end result of this maths, works. So you're calculating a dip or depression angle to the surface level. Yeah, you need a flat Earth to claim this Earth curve.
Sorry, but
hold on, Tenth. Just let him respond. Hold on, Tenth. Go ahead.
Are you talking about the Earth curve maths, about curvature? Are you talking about the mathematics, which is about trying to calculate how much curve there is? And
yes,
are you talking about? Yeah, is that it?
Yes. It's just called Earth curve maths. It exists in several formats. All of them are exactly the same in essence. But yes, that requires a flat Earth.
Calculates the degree of curve.
But you can't have a degree of curve.
The degree of curvature.
As a turn of phrase, yeah. The curve that they're asserting in that maths exists below a surface level that's measured. It's even labelled in their maths. If there's a diagrammatical example next to the maths, it'll show you surface level and eye level, and then there'll be a point below surface level marked with an X labelled horizon, claimed to be Earth curve, existing mathematically below a flat measured surface level.
Right, so it's relative to the flat surface level.
Yes.
And what's the problem with that?
You need a surface level.
And so what?
Level's a horizontal plane in that mathematics. That's the problem. Do they assert that mean sea level is a horizontal plane, or does level curve around the ball?
Yeah, they're measuring a surface level to claim that surface level bends, but surface level's level, and they measure it level to then say that there's a point below the surface level that they measured level that they've calculated based on raising to a height that's referenced to a surface level to say how much Earth curve will be below the surface level in the calculation. So you need multiple measurements of a surface level in order to assert that you've got a curve below it, orthographically in mathematics.
Oh, so the first thing is you need a measurement of the level thing in order to begin. That's what you're saying?
It's not that you need to. It's part of the axiomatic principle that you're utilising to claim there's a curve. You're deriving it from a surface level. If you want to say, well, what are you measuring with respect to surface level? Your height above it in their maths is something that you'd have to suggest if you were going to claim to be worthwhile values into those maths. you'd measure your height above sea level. But you need a sea level to measure a height from, because you're going to be utilizing your eye level parallel with surface level once you've measured your height above sea level. Can you hear all these level? These are all things that you must measure to then punch those values into Earth curve maths to show a curve below the level that you measured.
I don't see a problem if it's mathematical and like just drawing a mathematical line. If it requires a horizontal line, if it's a concept, I don't see the problem with that.
What do you mean?
That's the problem. The problem is that Earth curve itself is the concept, right? Go back and forth long enough with a Glover, and what they'll tell you, the curve, aka the geometric horizon, only exists in the math. That's actually a Globe quote.
Yeah. So the point.
Understand the problem.
Yeah, the point marked with an X labelled horizon in their maths only exists in their maths. The horizon that we actually measure is horizontal, representing the surface level meeting it is the point that you're calculating with parallel eye level with it. It's all flat Earth prerequisites, flat Earth measurements.
Right, and the conceptual horizontal is comporting to our experience of level being axiomatically tied to horizontal. So that's what makes it a measurement, is because you have your conceptual unit horizontal, what you experience. Ta-da! Earth has to be flat for you to believe you're on a globe.
And on top of that, once you got a measurement, it's no longer about belief, right? Because if you take a tape measure your table 10 feet long, you don't have to believe your table's 10 feet long. You've measured it. You know it because you used an established reference, right? So there's no belief involved anymore. That's why we just say it's measured flat. That's it. It's a wrap after that.
What's the name of the caller? What's your name again?
It's Perry.
Hey, Perry. Nathan, walk them through the black swan, because that's essential, because their claim is Earth curves at a certain point based on the observer's height and feet. And when that is not reality, you tie that knowledge to a concept that's only mathematical. And then you say, well, how do you measure anything? And they need a equatorial plane, so they take you to the middle of the Earth, which is not the surface that they're saying you're on. So they transpose a tangent plane on the surface, but that's not the surface. If you're saying I live on a curved Earth, then why aren't you measuring the curvature of the Earth? Oh, we did. It's 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height and feet. Yeah, but that's false according to Black Swan. That's not real.
Okay, so what I'm being asked to do, Terry, is explain that the maths that I'm pointing out requires a flat Earth to be measured was debunked in 2020 with the following logical consistency. If Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that horizon I was describing below surface level, called Earth curve, must be no more than 1.2
Shut up, you
times.
nigger.
Go ahead.
They need to mute that guy. He said, shut up, you, and you used the N-word.
He's already gone.
He's already gone, boss. You're fine.
No worries. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles and every distance to horizon measurement can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, distance to horizon measurement in an image we call the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth radius 3959. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve. Earth's not a sphere. However, they will require a flat plane to assert that calculation after the fact. Okay, that's where I begin. I wish I knew that.
Thank you.
8 years ago.
8 years ago. Why do you say that?
Hold on.
because I spent a significant period of time debating as though the mathematics had any value, like they were actually elucidating Earth curvature. So the debate we had, I say we because there were several of us on the debate panel at the time, was around an island here, the Isle of Man, which you may or may not be familiar with. And we debated with the Earth curve maths within the context of there being Earth curve to debate about. So if I'd have known Earth's measured flat to make those assertions, and the distances that are asserted in the Earth curve maths also require a horizontal baseline for them to be linear distances. So every aspect of Earth curve maths, distances, heights, it's all reference to a plane. If I'd have known all that, it would have saved a lot of bother arguing about stuff that's insignificant now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, obviously you just described something about the black swan there and everything, but I don't know if you're aware, but you say it really quickly, and I'm just I have watched some of the videos about that. Perhaps I just need to go back and watch some of them, but it sounds like I'm going to take your suggestion about looking into the Earth curve calculations. That's what I'm going to do. That sounds like a really good place to start. Thank you for that.
Well, not Earth curve calculations, specifically the flat Earth required within them.
Okay. Sounds like I need to grasp that concept then about how that false assumption that is there.
Well, no, the false assumption, when you say that, it makes it sound like something's being assumed incorrectly. But they're not. They're just measuring Earth flat.
Oh, you mean it? You say they're measuring it flat?
Yeah.
What's the measurement that's being done?
Height.
Height of, you said the height of, height above the surface?
Depression angle from eye level to where surface level appears to meet the sky. Like Nathan said, height, which is with respect to a flat plane, and your eye level, which is parallel with the surface.
I thought you were going to talk about, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to talk about the measurement from the Polaris.
Yeah, that's just a different measurement. The Polaris measurement for latitude, you mean?
Yeah, I thought you were talking, the core of it was to do with mapping. How we map out using the stars and the angles, those angles. So
yeah, elevation angles.
It doesn't sound like you're talking about that.
Yeah, I mean that again, you don't need to necessarily learn anything other than what an elevation angle measurement is. So you're like, well, should I go and get a celestial navigation book? Well, no, not necessarily. Just know what an elevation angle measurement is. So if I define it for you, I've got lots, but I'll just read out one. The altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. Sustainable by design altitude angle. So if you know how an altitude angle is measured, then you understand that there's a prerequisite for a flat plane for it to be an angle. So in the case of the latitude system, you're using that principle of an elevation angle measurement with Polaris to form that system.
Right. So it requires a flat plane. Right? When you say that, that sounds like a mathematical concept. So, yeah. Why is that? What's the problem with that?
Why do you keep asking me what the problem is? There isn't a problem. It's a definition of an elevation angle measurement. I'll bring your attention to two words specifically. Measurement. When regards the angle is measured between, and then the next bit I'll draw your attention to is the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. That's not a problem.
Oh, right.
Just in requirement of a horizontal plane to be standing on to make this measurement.
Oh, right. Okay. It's
Sorry to interrupt, Terence. Are you in the side chat that we have on the Discord? I've put the citation that Nathan's speaking about with a small diagram in it. If you want to look at that and understand what's said, then it's just in the side chat. You know where the side chat is, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
No, I think the pennies just dropped here a bit. So it actually, okay. So it says, yeah, it's a measurement with a flat plane. It actually says that. Okay.
Yeah. Any Earth measurement will require Earth to be a flat plane to measure. It's intrinsic to all of them.
Wow.
Think about it like this,
Okay,
right? In
well,
that
that's
definition, you got
pretty fundamental.
Hold on, just a second, whoever that is in G+. It's one more time, Terry.
It's pretty fundamental. So tell me, how is, so, you know, how does anybody, why is that done? You know, how can...
May I try?
Just let him get his question out. Whoever's interrupting him, please don't. Go ahead, Terry.
Right, so you just read that out. It's obviously, you know, I'm just saying, it's obviously, it's blindingly obvious. It says it's a flat plane, okay? How can anybody say that it's anything else than that?
They can't, because that's how it's done. When I say it, I mean Earth measurement. Earth's measured flat.
So maybe up until this point, you didn't think that many people were gullible and easily deceived. I mean, that's how deception is usually done, right? In your face. No. You're just told.
You're just assuming.
What do you mean? No.
Because you're assuming that. You don't know anything about this man.
Assuming what? No, I'm not talking about, what the hell? Did I address that to him? Or did I say typically, like the Western world that believes in a globe, all of this information has been in their face the entire time? When we were talking about this years ago, wasn't it Rumpus giving us a plane and us literally walking past that because we didn't see it back then?
Yes, for Terry's
That's
benefit.
my point.
No, very good point. So just to Terry, right? What Eli's pointing out is that it's on screen now for my audience. Actually, I'll just pause this slide. While we were using the information I've got presented to my live audience, right? It's 105 of them looking at this now. You can see surface level and eye level parallel with surface level. That's how this maths functions. So when you say, well, how could this be the case? Well, it has always been the case because Earth must be measured flat. It's flat. That's how it functions. We just didn't notice. So when I said, oh, I wish I'd have known this however many years ago, it's because of exactly what's on screen now. You don't see the wood for the trees. It's in the maths. It says it right there. Surface level. Flat dotted line. I didn't notice. Neither did anybody else. We just carried on assuming that this point below it, marked with an X and labelled horizon, was the point that we saw in the distance. When in the maths itself, it's got a dotted line labelled surface level. So how could this be? Yeah, amazing, isn't it? How did you not notice? We feel the same. How did we not notice this?
Is this where it comes in, though? It's so big, it can be assumed it's flat.
Okay, yeah, and when a globe believer says that to me, I go, okay, so you accept that we measure it flat then? The bit about it being big is just a, baseless assertion at that point, because you haven't got any measurements of it being a big ball. We've just got measurements of it flat. And then after the fact, they apologise for how flat they must measure it by saying, yes, I concede, I must measure Earth flat, but that's only because it's really big. What, really big and flat, like you just measured it? Oh, no, I'm just going to assume by pure fiat that me measuring it flat means it's a really big non-flat surface. No, you've only got one measurement, though, and the measurements are always flat. Their apology for measuring it flat is that I'll assume it's a big ball anyway, even though I just measured it flat.
Right. The rebuttal is a special pleading to say that.
That's what I was fishing for. God damn it. I couldn't think of the fallacy off the top of my head. Precisely. Well done, John. It's a special pleading fallacy. Exactly.
Right.
Special pleading fallacy.
Right. To say that what we already know and experience, outside of that, the situation has changed to contradict what we know and experience. That can't happen. That isn't true.
We all know in the daytime, people, generally are skin covered and stood upright. However, when everybody's asleep and no one can see and observe, there are certain humans that run around on all fours like wolves. Now, you don't get to see them because you're asleep and it's nighttime. What's that you say? It's been proven that there is no such thing as transformation of humans. Well, no, it happens when you're not looking. Why? Well, because they've proven that there aren't any, that means that there are. I've proven it's measured flat, that means it must be really big and a ball. No, you just proved you measured it flat, and there's nothing beyond your measurement to assert that. It isn't flat.
Earth curve is always everywhere you're not looking or measuring.
Like the werewolves.
Hey Nathan, would you agree that the only way to actually put a toy globe on your desk or even craft that thing, you gotta start with a flat map Earth and a projection based on celestial observation, which is based on flat Earth measurements, which shows that the dependency of a globe cult belief system is on flat Earth.
Yeah, well, I couldn't have put it better myself. Yes, globe belief is dependent on flat Earth measurements. The origin of the globe's creation are those flat Earth measurements. So, but for the flat Earth measurements, you wouldn't have a globe to believe in. Yes, you put it better than I could have.
May I point something out as well?
Just one sec, John.
Later.
Hold on, I think there was a further point to that. Go ahead.
So it would be fair for me to say that, and I'll be quick, when I want to craft a toy globe for my desk, the basis of it is to have a flat map that I slice up and wrap around a ball, right?
It's a bit more complicated than that with Haversine conversion, projection, first based on the celestial hemisphere. But yes, in principle, if you like, oversimplified, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like just in principle, simplify, right? And also in regards to the usage, right? The practical use, every map utilizing practical use is always utilizing a planar grid system. Period.
Yeah. Sorry, who are you? I like you.
Clay Underseal.
Very concise, Clay.
I like to go
There's
after
nothing.
John.
Anyways, there was someone else wanting to comment.
I'll go after John.
Remember, when you look at measurement, if someone shows you a calculation that contradicts the measurement, the calculation's wrong, not the measurement. People have forgotten that.
What I especially like is when you point out the flat measurement in their globe example, and then they start to decry their own measurement. Like, well, it's not a measurement then. It's like you're using this to assert that you've got a ball beneath your feet. I'm pointing out that the bit you're using is a flat measurement, and now you don't want it to be a measurement, and you don't want it to be Earth, and you don't want it to be the ground. It's your example. Like this on screen. Like, okay, right, so we've got 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and the height's off surface level and parallel with it, right? Okay, gotcha. And that 1.2 times the observer's height in feet is the distance to this geometric physical limitation in this view in orthographic. Right, gotcha. You've got to measure Earth flat for that. There's surface level, you need that. You need to measure your height above it. You need the eye level to be parallel with surface level for this maths to work. It's not the ground! We're not measuring anything! That's what you get.
See, every time they want to invoke modern technology in reference to navigation as an example, the funny thing is what they don't understand is they simultaneously always invoke longitude, latitude, and meridian lines, which are fundamentally based on the principle of flat Earth measurements.
Yep.
And this is the absurd irony of it all. The only way you can have your imaginary things in your head working about a ball is by utilizing the Earth for what it in reality is, which is a flat topographical planar surface. This is what the globers gotta understand. This stuff is all based on the reality of what Earth actually truly is. So all your GPS, navigation, charts, everything as an inertial reference system within aircrafts is all based on planar surfaces. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yep, absolutely correct.
That's why. That's why they use the equatorial plane, because that's what it is. So The raw data is from flat Earth angle measurements. What happens is they convert that through a transformation. It's a conversion to make it a globe. It's an afterthought afterwards. It's not from the raw measurements. So now they put you in the arc of the protractor rather than saying, oh, by the way, he was standing on the baseline when he held the sextant and measured the star's angle against a horizontal plane that has a maximum of 5,400 nautical miles of straight line, linear.
I love this. I just caught this from, I don't know what the discussion's going on in my live stream chat, but Super Blaze, quote, because the geoid surface cannot, sorry, I should start that again. Because the geoid surface cannot be directly observed, heights above or below the geoid surface can't be directly measured and are inferred, end quote. You're like, as soon as I read it, I thought, above or below? You'll need a flat plane for those. But I can only imagine that he's responding to some zealot in the chat. Shout out to you, Super Blaze.
Yeah, all descriptions of what we experience will be with respect to a plane of reference, whether it be your eye level, surface level. There will be a plane of reference that you use to describe up and down with. Now, that is not necessarily a horizontal plane. You can tilt your head sideways and describe things wrong to people, you know, but if your head's vertical, which is with respect to a horizontal plane, then you can give accurate descriptions to other people. That's why measurements are so important. It allows us to share knowledge with others. You can't even talk about this without a flat earth.
Indeedy.
Yes. Well, see, the truth is self-evident. It's out there. It's undeniable. The only thing people can do is twist it, pervert it, mock it, or just furthermore in their own unrighteousness push it down. But the truth is, when you say sea level, the word itself is giving testimony of what it is describing. The same goes for the horizon, which refers to horizontal. The same goes for gas pressure, which means you have the word pressing in it. There's the requirement and the self-explanatory term in itself. It testifies of the very thing that it requires. Therefore, any other attempt to talk around it, pervert it, in unrighteousness, furthermore, is absolutely foolish and utterly giving testimony of your incapability of actually accepting reality for what it presents itself to be. That is the truth.
Yeah, the truth is Earth's a flat plane. That's exactly how it's measured. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
We just move over to the other server now?
Music hall.
I don't know.
We're doing all the flooring.
I'm still in the same channel.
Earth is flat.
Neil from Central.
Don't push yourself too hard, Neil.
Hang on.
You know you're wrong.
I think I saw a green screen there. Are you really there?
Oh,
Consento's faking it.
That's the 19th gate.
Okay, guys, we're still in the Discord server that we're a guest in, so just so you know.
What, they don't have no humor over there?
Oh.
Yeah,
No.
what's wrong, Nathan? Is everything okay? Are you ashamed of us?
Only yourself and Neil.
Well, maybe there is someone out there as a glober who can give us a demonstration of unrighteously perverting specific words that give self-testament of what they actually mean, which is, can you maybe explain why it's called sea level or not sea bend or sea curve or sea curving or the horizon that is horizontal? Can you, anyone that wants to try to pervert this very truth?
One
That's
deck
what I
has a
thought.
list of them.
I was going to say, it's a shame he's not here. There's a whole list of axiomatic definitions and words that they can't use, like up and down.
You know what they call these
south, east,
people?
west,
Sophists. The only way you can present the globe is by sophistry. That's the only way you can do it. That's all they have.
That's correct. The only way they can make it seem like there's an argument is to create a different argument, like the Earth isn't the azimuthal equidistant projection. They can't be bracing against the real argument, which is Earth's measured flat for you, me, and everyone. So they've got to make a new, different argument. So,
or they could pay off a prominent flat earther.
what makes you think he was paid
You know what
off?
the worst?
Go on,
you know
play.
what the worst thing about the sophistry in itself is? It's within the definition of the word itself. It's the intention of deceiving. So furthermore, you who is obviously deceived, you are intentionally taking partition and furthermore deceiving.
Yes. The anti-flat earthers are sophists. So they're the ones who will brace against their own rhetoric to say that we're wrong, making them right in their mind, even though they're bracing against their own rhetoric. And sometimes intentionally deceiving where they know their rhetoric doesn't stack up, like saying gravity is a force when they know damn well it isn't. Or a more egregious example would be along the same lines, where gravity is declared not to be a force by George Musa, and Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, would sit in front of his camera as still as possible so he can edit out any bits that he doesn't like going out to his audience.
Exactly.
But they're egregious.
Or the way they
sophism.
hijack perspective. Nathan, hi Nathan and everybody. Just want to ask you, you most likely have heard Quantum bringing up the perspective, the hijacked perspective that he introduced, or he mentioned this, how do you say, the electric fan towers, how do you call? I'm sorry. He was looking across, and when you look across the water, and they look like they're falling one behind the other one, but then someone turned 90 degrees to the side view, and you can see like a horizontal line of the towers parallel to the water.
Oh, okay.
So he was, do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I don't, but I did the same thing. We were looking at wind turbines. And we asked one of the cameramen, if you will, Ranty in this case, to go 90 degrees to the wind turbines that you could see in the frame falling away with perspective, claimed to be Earth curve in the perspective hijacking Earth curve maths that uses flat Earth measurements. But when looking at them 90 degree to the same viewpoint, you just see them all lined up in a straight line, not doing anything. You know, from left to right, they're not falling over any curve, but when you look at them with perspective, they look like they're falling over a curve as they get smaller with distance.
That is such a simple one, but so powerful at the same time. Because when the Globers say the boat is going over the horizon, but they're excluding all the other variables like the angle of view.
Sure. But what you're discussing is a sort of argument style from maybe 6 or 7 years ago, which I'd love to say, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, what's wrong with it is that the assertion that you'd have an Earth curve for boats to go over comes from the maths that we were just discussing that needs flat Earth measurements. So in 2025, we would hope that people would recognise that. That is to say, rather than arguing about whether or not boats go over horizons that are derived from mathematics that measures Earth flat, to make the claim that a boat's going over a horizon that's debunked by the Black Swan. I won't rehash that again, we covered it in the live show. But Earth curve, if you want to assume that you've got a geometric edge for a horizon, has been fundamentally debunked in physical, observational terms. Further to that, the maths that was used to make the claim needed flat Earth measurements to make the claim. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's technical. I mean, not pretty technical, but I'm saying that's a little more advanced, I will say. But when people are looking across the water, I see the, like that's simple. Oh, I saw the boat going over the water, and therefore globe Earth. But then you go on the side view and or the wind turbines. That's a perfect example. I saw the wind turbines kind of like going down behind the water, but then the side view will just show you that's not the case. It's perspective, which is a pretty simple one.
Sure.
Are you saying that to point out the surface of water in their own mathematics is horizontal is too complicated?
Sometimes it can seem that way. But that's the case.
Saying that sometimes you got to go back to the basics, right? Some of these Globers, you got to tell them, hey, the street lights aren't setting. They just look like that.
The street lights aren't setting.
Did you just say fucking Globers, you degenerate cunt?
Huh?
Why did somebody have to do that?
Yeah, someone wants to jump in the conversation. If you guys,
it was nice chatting with you.
Do you have a question or?
Gemsy, nice chatting with you. Yeah, the assertion that there's an Earth curve comes with a dose of flat Earth measurements.
Okay, so the reason that guy did that might have been the same guy earlier is because he got triggered because someone's trying to show him what measurements are.
Maybe he got triggered because I said the street lights aren't setting. Maybe that pissed him off.
Well, that's
Brush
why
your
it's
fucking teeth.
Okay, get rid of this guy, please.
You and your feelings?
So you could tell it's a religion, and you offended their god of curve.
Yeah. He needs pain relief by attacking us personally after the fact. Oh well, that pain relief won't last long for him.
There's one common theme with sophists. As soon as they realize that the magic trick doesn't work, they just get emotional and cry about how much they cannot bring out their delusions. All you get, actually, most of the time. Crying, ad homs, so forth.
Or they'll project their pain directly onto their opponent.
Yeah. I experienced that yesterday. Someone in here called Redwin was accused of ad homing the opponent while the opponent was the one beforehand, just minutes before he was saying that accusation, he himself was the very person ad homing permanently. That just shows that, like, literally as if this person was talking to a mirror.
Yeah.
Complete projection. It's very sad, actually. But on one hand, we gotta realize and also agree that, we have been through this indoctrination. So in a sense, I also understand the psychological reasons of why many people who defend this act this way, right? It's not like I wouldn't have any understanding. It is painful. It is painful to realize that maybe the whole field you have been indoctrinated with, you paid a lot of money for university, might be a complete lie and is based on fairy tales. I can understand why that is painful.
If you have the term, I was like you once, like really condescend to them, I find that works quite nicely. Yeah, I was like you two once. We had the same education, you and I. I advanced beyond this pathetic understanding of Earth being a sphere because you were told so.
Right. But in a sense, I mean, especially when you come out of the area of education like university, you should be able to have a constructive discussion without the use of sophistry and ad homs.
No, they're not taught logic in unis.
Especially
they're not taught logic.
Yeah.
The people who are taught logic are being taught to make games and stuff. Just 1 second, Clay. Go ahead, Chocolate. You were trying to get something in there.
I would just say I wasn't like you because I was able to get new information and change my mind. Right? That's what you do when you have intellectual honesty, as opposed to being in a cult where you reject new information wholeheartedly. So now I wasn't like them ever.
And another thing you also observe many times is before Globers would actually do the argument, right? And they argument that, well, before I'm gonna tell you this, I already know that you guys just gonna mute me, or that you guys gonna do this, and you're probably gonna say this about my argument, instead of actually bringing forth the great argument or any argument at all. They just talk about this matter of, like, this is about to happen, and you might react this way, and you probably, How many times is that actually happening?
That's called
also
a
in chat.
It's called a poisoning the well fallacy.
Exactly.
AQE, hey Adam, are you both free for a bit? Reckon we could do some scribbling?
Negative.
Oh, bummer.
You in politics?
We are in politics.
10th in here?
10th is in here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Still.
Yeah, somebody was looking for the source of one of your documents last night, and I didn't have it. It's the one with the 3 elevation angles. Nathan has it on his slideshow. You know the one I'm talking about, where they all come together and their circles.
Yeah, I do. I've looked for it, but I can't find it. But I found it and I put it, and I went back to 2020 even. So yeah, I can't find it myself.
Okay.
But here's the thing. The initial person looking for that was a well-known baller, and kind of bugged someone to bug me about it. So this isn't the first time. So my response was this. It matches exactly the picture Nathan showed yesterday when they had 3 circles of equal altitudes with 90 degrees on the ball. There's nothing different. There's so many things like it that's exactly the same thing, especially in the navigation books. Nathan shows the slides going on his screen all the time. You got the baseline, you got the sun, you got the angle with the sextant, and you've got the degree time, the 60 nautical miles. So I don't understand why that triggers people when they see that slide when it's the same as all the other ones.
I don't think it's fair to call it triggered for asking for citation.
No, I know, but it's the same as all the other ones. Nothing changes. I mean, Harold Jacoby, I'm almost done. Harold Jacoby in his book said it was. All of my references say it's a right angle triangle. Even McToon says it's a right angle triangle.
I've been asked several times for the origin of that slide as well, or those slides as well. And could I get them from you, Tent Man? So there's a group of people out there, and they're doing their best to get these slides. It's like as if they think you just made them up yourself. That's the feeling I'm getting.
It's odd that you can't find them. Like I can't put them in any reverse image search. Now, granted, fundamentally, the slides are literally, like Fen said, showing the same thing that you get when you Google elevation, angle, circles of equal altitude. It's all the same thing. So, but it is annoying.
You know what I think it could be? Just when you just said that they are Eli. I'm wondering, because that wasn't the case a couple of years ago. You could find them, right? I could find those, but I haven't looked for them for years because I didn't have a need to. But I remember seeing them and coming across. I wasn't searching for them, but I came across them in my searches, and I recognized them because they're the same ones as Tent had presented to me, and there was a link to them and stuff like that. But I knew where they had come from. I remember seeing the source before that. I'm wondering if somebody got them taken down off the internet, and now they're looking for Tent to give them the source, and since can't find the source because they got the source taken down, and this is a way of character assassinating Tent or whoever, because that's what they do.
Yeah. Kiwi, are you there still before I ask Nathan to pull up the 2 slides and just send them in Master B?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, remember that video that we both commented on where that Navy guy was showing how celestial navigation works, and he drew a triangle, and it was a video, and he was running $1 billion ship. You remember that one that you did?
Yes.
Okay. if you follow what happened after your critique of that video, and that was one of many videos I watched, but you're the first one that covered it online. The ballers contacted that Navy guy, the retired Navy guy, and said, hey, the flat earthers are saying this. And the Navy guy had to go in there and put a disclaimer. That's not what he meant.
Yes, I remember it.
Yeah, so you see how triggered they get. But Nathan, go to the 2 slides I just sent you in Master B, please.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so as you can see here, the slides that QE is referencing are 3 circle elliptical altitudes, and they want to know where I got it from. Well, it's the same as these. Exactly the same as these. So if you had 3 of these, what would you have? The same thing that they want to know what I can't find anymore. I mean, can you believe the nonsense?
Yeah, what's that guy? Professor Wolf's QE, is it? Is it that guy?
Yeah, it's the same routine with University of Rochester. I've had a lot of citations just disappear. Now, some universities, they will. Penn State is notorious for eliminating citations off their website. Some you can't find them ever again. And then Brian brought up a good point with Professor Wolfs at the University of Rochester. Baller got in touch with him, and he took down the whole page on the scientific method. He just took it down. But like I said, he made a big mistake. A lot of people had cited that in their articles, books, and he got some whiplash, and they were up in another week. But yes, ballers get in touch with these institutions and organizations and say, hey, we got flat earthers here using your sources to support their point, and they've all of a sudden disappeared. That's happened many, many times.
Yeah, and then you get idiots like Veach, who will openly declare it. Oh, well, I'll do something about that. Like, why would you be such a dumbass as to say it in public that you're actually going to do this? Well,
yeah,
what do you think is going to happen when we see that it has happened? Who do you think we're going to blame?
It was on your channel, dude.
Yeah.
Remember underneath in your comment section?
Yeah.
I was slapping him around. And he said that. And he contacted Professor Wolfs at the University of Rochester. Definitely did. Yeah, because I talked to the secretary.
Nathan, I just sent you 2 more, and this is from a YouTube baller celestial navigation channel. The guy knows his stuff.
Yeah.
You remember this?
I'm looking back in our messages, 10th, just in case, because I've asked you for a lot of the sources. Do you remember that? And
look, if you find it, if I had it handy, I would just share the source. It's not going to contradict anything. I'm showing other slides that show the source. I just can't find it. How in the world do you argue with a right angle triangle shown different ways?
I don't think they were arguing with the right angle triangle part. They were just looking for the source.
Well, they're everywhere. They're in all the navigation books. They're online. And you say, what's an elevation angle? And that's what I did a search on, and I found it. So I shared it with Nathan and you or whoever else I shared it with. But now I go back, I can't find it.
Well, QE, just so you know, I was the first one doling out these screenshots of 10th man citations on Discord. I did it immediately. And the ballers definitely latched on to, well, where's this from though? Like as if they knew that I wouldn't be able to find it. Like they're doing it on purpose now. I'm telling you.
I set a trap for them, and that's why I use Earth curve mass to prove levels flat, so they'll get rid of Earth curve mass.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad idea for them to do, John. Considering the current state of the situation, the best thing they could do is remove those maths off of online and allow them to be just taught to particular people. You know, that kind of thing. That would probably be a good thing, because those maths aren't good for them, because their horizon is not geometric and all the rest of it. So it probably wouldn't be a wise move for them to do that.
Sorry, Brian. So Nathan, I just sent you the picture that QE was asking for, because that's all I got. I don't know this. I can't find the source anymore. S1, S2, S3. It's right there in Master B. Tell me if that's any different of a claim or statement or reference to anything of the other pictures I've sent. When you have three circle of equal altitudes and they cross at one point, that's where the observer is.
No, it's all the same. I mean, doesn't matter.
Yeah, so why would that one picture be so important to them and they get so triggered by it, as Eli and I know they are? Because it hurts them to look at it. He must have made it up. He drew that and said it was from a celestial navigation article or book or whatever, but that's not true. And then guess what? I go to YouTube videos, black and white, showing celestial navigation to show the same thing. In fact, I'll send you one of them. There you go. You got it.
Wait. Why are we talking about Elon?
What was that?
Why are we talking about Elon Musk?
No.
Eli.
Or Eli.
And the reason is because I'm Musk.
You Musk or you Musk? What?
Musk talk about Eli.
Oh, Elon Musk talk about Eli.
No.
Oh,
we
boy.
have a panel member, Eli, and I Musk talk about him.
Oh, you Musk. Okay. Musk.
It's a pun, so we don't
Forget
waste
it.
another 15 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Kiwi.
Got
Yeah,
somebody
you
on the
know what?
Discord side that's failing a triangle test right now. I've posted it 3 times. He can't tell me what a triangle is.
Oh, I was going to ask Nathan a question.
Yeah, feel free.
What do you think about the final experiment?
What do I think about the final experiment? Very interesting.
Yes.
It's not an experiment, and it turns out it's apparently not going to be final. So, is there a particular aspect you wanted to get my opinion on?
I mean, if it's not final, then why did you not go? At least you could have gone a step further in proving, if the Earth is, not spherical, or,
When you say why didn't I go, I had no intention of going.
why have no intention?
It's just not on my bucket list of things to do. Why would I?
Yeah, but don't you want to own, the Globers?
I already do. The one that did go down there
Yeah,
was
but I
screaming.
mean-
The one that did go down there, McToon specifically, was screaming my name into the snow after calling me and hearing me mention that he measured Earth flat in his 10K challenge that he did. He then got quite stroppy, put the phone down on me and started screaming about guns and stuff, like screaming my name into the snow. I mean, I didn't need to be there. Anybody that was there within a 10-mile radius heard my name being screamed, though. So in spirit, I was kind of there.
So I'm just curious what happened, because I mean, I've seen, I saw some old videos where you're talking about the 24-hour sun, but now it doesn't really have an effect on if the globe or if the Earth is a globe or flat.
Is there a question in there?
Well, my question is that what happened? What made you change your mind on a 24-hour sun?
I want to just try that again. What's your question?
Hang on 1 second.
Why did you change your opinion
You saw
on a
videos of
24-hour
Nathan
sun?
claiming there wasn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Are you saying that you saw videos of Nathan saying that there wasn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Yes, he said that years ago. and I'm asking what made him.
What was the
No,
video?
he was told that
What was the
by
video?
somebody who, yeah.
It was from like, I don't know, I don't remember the title, but I've seen it before. It was like a few years ago. I'm just asking what made you
What was
change
the
your
subject
opinion.
of the video about? What were we generally talking about in the video?
We're talking about, like, you're talking about, Antarctica, and if Antarctica could be, the key towards solving if the Earth was flat.
Video is about if Antarctica could be the key to solving if Earth is flat or not. That was the video. I don't remember making a video or being involved in such a video. Could it be the video where I interviewed Robert Shortman about being in Antarctica? Could that be the video?
It wasn't an interview video. I just know that you said in the past that a 24-hour sun could prove that the Earth is a globe. You said it before. I don't know why you're pretending you haven't said it before.
What was the exact quote then?
Dude, how do I remember the exact quotes? It's like asking.
You said you saw me say it.
Well, yeah, that's what you said. You said that the 24-hour sun could prove a globe, right?
I don't remember saying these words. Sorry, it just sounds like you're making this up because I don't remember saying those words.
I'm not making this up.
Would you want to give me an exact quote then?
Exact quote from a video I saw a few months.
Just to clear this up, if you can't give me an exact quote, there is no other alternative in terms of what's occurring here, which is you are ipso facto making these words I did not say up because it's not an exact quote. Therefore, it can only be words you're making up to paraphrase that which you think I've said. So I'll just say that once more. You're just making this stuff up. I haven't said that, and you can't give me an exact quote. Therefore, you are making this stuff up that I haven't said. Right? I did do an interview with a guy called Robert Shortman who spent a prolonged period in Antarctica and told me specifically he didn't see an Antarctic 24-hour sun whilst being down there, down being an antipodal assumption that we point out in present times, that's to say not almost 10 years ago, would be necessitated to make this into some sort of globe argument. That's to say when you travel south, you assume you're going to the bottom of a ball. So in terms of the Antarctic sun and whether or not it's doing a 24-hour circle is irrelevant to us and our position that Earth's measured flat. That was affirmed by all the people who went to Antarctica when they measured Earth flat. But my sentiment from 10 years ago when interviewing a man who said there wasn't a 24-hour sun, when perhaps repeating that sentiment after just being told it, doesn't seem that unreasonable. It does kind of seem like a straw man when our argument in the present is that Earth's measured flat, and that was affirmed by everyone who went to Antarctica. I assume you're a globe believer, my friend? Are you a globe believer, my friend?
He deafened himself.
You're telling me while I was explaining that Earth was measured flat, he put his fingers in his frickin' ears?
Yeah.
Was it too painful? Oh, bless.
You said something, even though I don't know what you said, but you said it. But even though I don't know what you said it.
Well, I was telling him how Antarctica affirmed Earth's measured flat and that he was representing something I'd discussed with somebody who'd spent time in Antarctica about 10 years ago as a straw man. Presumably he didn't like that. He wanted to make me look bad for having said something he watched on a clip from someone else's video and hasn't got the slightest idea where they got it from, so he doesn't know the context, so he'll just make it up. And when being called out as a bullshitter who's making stuff up I haven't said, he's put his fingers in his ears because he doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm here to talk to you and ask you about what you said 6 years ago, but whenever you reply, I'm going to put my fingers in my ears.
It was 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
What's the explanation for the 24-hour sun on the flat Earth again?
Explanation for it?
Yeah.
Well, there's a 24-hour sun on a flat Earth as measured by the guys in Antarctica. There you go. There's the explanation.
How, though?
As measured. I just said, 5 seconds ago.
What measurement?
Elevation angle measurements to the sun. Elevation angle measurements. If you go to a guy called... I'm answering you, Beck. Do you want to shut your mouth while I answer, or did you want to keep talking while I answer you?
Yeah.
Elevation angle measurements. Yeah. If you go to Beck, you talking while I tell you about how Earth's measured flat isn't going to change the flat Earth measurements I'm answering you with. Is it painful?
Bro,
Maybe
I'm
you'd like
not
to stick your
talking.
fingers in your ears or just mute me while I'm explaining this to you. Mute me by talking through me, right? Oh, Beck, it'll make it easier if you just talk while I'm talking. Prick. Dumbass. Shut your mouth. I'm telling you, Earth's measured flat by all the participants of the people in Antarctica. Look at any of their measurements, Obeck. They all measure a flat Earth. Do you understand? You managed to shut your mouth long enough to hear it that time.
Right, so I'm talking about the sun,
Yeah, stuttery.
how do you
Yeah,
explain?
stuttery. Repeat after me. They measured the sun with elevation angles. You need a flat Earth for that. Do you understand? I'll repeat it if you don't.
What? Wait, how do you wait? So
stuttery. Repeat after me, stuttery. Don't just stammer a question that you don't know how to form. Don't ask me something. You're trying to form a question. I can understand what you're doing. Stuttering around a question you don't know how to ask. I know my question to you. Do you understand? They measured the sun with elevation angles. If the answer's no, I don't know what elevation angles are, I can define it for you. But I'm clarifying what they measured in Antarctica. It was a flat Earth measuring the sun with elevation angles. Do you understand? Third time.
Earth, right? In your model, there shouldn't be a 24.
Why is he yammering? The server moderators are having to mute him because he doesn't want to listen. This is metaphorically him sticking his fingers in his ears because he's just talking while I'm talking, so he doesn't have to respond to me. So you're useless to us, Obeck. You're going to be removed permanently from the conversation because you're not having a conversation with me. You're chanting about your questions after I've answered something that you can't respond to. You can't cope with what I've told you. You can't paraphrase it back and you can't even listen to it. And now you've run like a glurf bitch.
Nathan, he strawmanned you by saying your model of Earth. We don't have a model.
No, that was in between. No, that was in between server moderation because he was talking constantly whilst getting the answer. So eventually the server moderator stepped in and muted him. So at least my recording got to hear it because he weren't listening. And the moment he was taken off server mute, he started babbling about a model because he'd been talking incessantly. That's their only tactic. When we were talking about projection earlier, that's when they later go on to say that I'm muting them. Because they don't shut up till they get muted by, in this case, not me, a completely neutral platform's moderator. But after the fact, they still do this on Friday shows. They'll say, Nathan muted him, that's the only way he won. What, in a moderation team that I've got no control over? No, the guy just didn't shut up and didn't listen. It's happened twice. Let's see if we can make it a hat trick. Next. Sorry, Brian, or was it Chocolate? Or both?
It was me.
24-hour sun, guys. Go. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that I don't know about this second guy, but the first guy seemed to have the tactic of saying things, but kind of slightly underneath his breath or with a bad mic, so you wouldn't pick up on him. But because you then don't contest what he said, that means you agreed. So when he said that you had said years ago that there wasn't a 24-hour sun, you didn't hear him say that. And because you don't contest it, then they can then claim that because you didn't contest it, that means you go along with it and agree that you did say that.
Well, I did.
He also, yeah, but it wasn't specifically you.
No, it was.
It was that you were going off of information from someone else who
Yeah,
worked there.
but it's a quote. You can quote me, if he did, which he didn't, quote me verbatim, you can put quote marks around that sentiment. There is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, which affirms the flat Earth model, or something like that. They can put quote marks around me saying that.
He didn't. He said, and that you said then that if there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, that would mean it's a globe. And I don't know if you heard him say that part.
Yeah, I did. I heard this straw man.
Did you?
I did. I ignored it.
It's like a new tactic they have or something where they say something, and if someone doesn't reply to them or pull them on it or hear them say it, that means that they agree. Because all they have is an agreement ladder, these people. They either have abuse or agreement ladder most of the time, that's it. And they're trying to get you onto an agreement ladder, put you on an agreement ladder that you have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Remember, the previous example of that was me talking to Anthony Riley about the observation of a light from a lighthouse 30 miles away on an island. And when I was there at, where was it? St. Bees, there was Spurs Chemo, me, my wife, Anthony, and his missus at the time. And we're all talking about it. And I'm taking the globe position, like as devil's advocate, and suggesting how they might combat the argument because it's one pixel flashing in a bit of videography. Crap, basically. And I said they'd turn it into a perfect globe proof. Now, my argument actually sat in front of them at St. Bees was that they'd suggested it was like the Batman signal coming out to a certain point, and you're seeing it at that point, which is much, much closer to the island. You're not seeing it where you're seeing it. That was my argument. So when Anthony wanted to release the footage, I'm like, don't release it. They'll just call it a perfect globe proof. This is back and forth in Skype or something. But Anthony Riley's got his screen shared, and some guy screen caps it, guy called Cat Earth, and starts presenting it like Nathan said there's a perfect globe proof out there. You're like, okay, well, that's literally what it says on the text. I'm there, Nathan, person writing the message. Or that's the perfect globe proof, I think is how I'd put it. Or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it was phrased. But they've taken that for cope. Gone, look, he said it. It's a bit like in Life of Brian when, don't start stoning him yet. All I said was Jehovah, and then they all start throwing stones. And then nobody's to stone anybody, even if they do say Jehovah, and then they all stone the guy who's in charge. Right? It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
How would you making an incorrect assertion 10 years ago have anything to do with recent history?
It doesn't matter. They want that straw man. They went back 10 years to get it. The fact that they got it is all that mattered. I've seen recent critiques of people where they've been involved in various drama on YouTube, and people have critiqued others in similar circumstances for the same thing. This is the example, you're seriously saying you've gone back 10 years to get this guy who was sponsored by a certain type of food company that he now stands against, and you're going to say that, look, you promoted it and endorsed it as a sponsor of your channel 10 years ago, therefore you're scum. Yeah, that's what people will do when they're reaching, basically. Well, in this instance, there's a context that I don't care. They want to use this for cope. 10 years ago, they've dug out a comment where I say there will be people stopping you if you just try and go down to Antarctica. They'll stop you with guns. Now, again, I can't remember the exact quote. It's a long time ago. But the sentiment you can take out of context and put it up against them telling me in the Antarctic snow, look, there's no guns here. And in their mind, that'll be a really glorious victory. Well, what does it turn into? It turns into a man walking around in circles, obviously stressed whilst yelling at me, putting the phone down when he, quote, tried to deflect with measurements, end quote, and then started screaming about no guns. You're like, no, this is pathetic people up till God knows what time in the morning, scouring videos to try and find a comment that I've left so they can use it as a straw man against me when in Antarctica. I mean, the lengths are astonishing. The glurfs, what was the word earlier used by Clay? Sophists. The lengths they'll go to are astonishing.
So if you don't remember, how do you know you said people and not penguins with guns?
Because it was flashed up on Toon's video, shut your channel, shut your, right at the beginning. He had it up, and knowing what a shyster he is, didn't leave it up for more than 2 or 3 frames and zoomed in on it. You don't really want anybody to see that this is very old and given the slightest bit of context. But he had a quote from me, he's obviously dug it out from 10 years ago for this very purpose, for the cope. There aren't any guns, haha.
Shut your channel shut.
Again, shut your channel, shut your, yeah.
Let's not forget the other things he did. I hate you, Nathan. You liar. I mean, his whole mission is to shut your channel down because you challenged his 10K challenge where he measured the earth flat, and you got him.
Yeah, that you can't really make that up, that on the 100th time of telling him that he measured earth flat in his 10K challenge, he'd be in Antarctica screaming my name after the fact. He couldn't make that up, that it'd be exactly 100 times.
You got to think like the enemy thinks. You got to get the biggest threat out of the way. Shut your channel shut, get him out. Then next is QE. Or if we could take them both out with one shot, we'll do it.
Shut your channel, shut your. And he recently on Modern Day Debates, which is not a debating channel, by the way, he was on there with Brian, and he showed the flat Earth measurements right on screen that McBugger Eater did. So go to Modern Day Debates, see McBugger Eater, McToon, MC, whatever, against Brian's logic. It was just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I trimmed it out and titled it McToon Measures Earth Flat. And then the thumbnail is him holding the flat Earth measurements that he made there.
You lie, Nathan. There are no penguins with guns in Antarctica.
No, but they're sunbathing at midnight.
Ooh.
I mean, what else can
That
you name
means
the
something.
video? If he's measuring Earth flat, that's the proper name for the video. Good job.
But you even had, what's his name? Fallacy guy saying, look, if we can all just rally ourselves to unsubscribe from Nathan, we can make his numbers go down. You're like, what?
Yep.
My God.
That was
Take
Bob
out the main
pseudoscience.
threat.
That was Bob, the pseudoscience fallacy guy. Also, somebody asked for a summary of TFE. It was a pseudoscientific non-experiment with two affirming the consequent formological fallacies represented by each side, wrapped inside a false dichotomy. And the very best that they could have done, the uppermost best, is debunk a globe projection, the AE map. That's it. The two affirming the
And
consequent formological fallacies by each from the globe head side. If the Earth is a globe, P, then we will observe a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, Q. We observe a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, Q. Therefore, the Earth is a globe, therefore, P. That's the globe head side. From the true Earth side, if the Earth is a true Earth, then we will observe twilight in Antarctica, Q. We will observe twilight in Antarctica, Q. Therefore, the Earth is flat. Or true Earth, therefore, P. To affirm the consequent formological fallacies. Before they even went, this was all identified 30 seconds after McDuffie came out with his idiot TFE. By the way, thanks.
Right, it's been tremendous fun in politics. I'm just going to bid everyone farewell and thank them for having us, unless there was any last fundies that wanted to get in before we toddle along.
I'd like to comment on QE's thing.
I have a question for Nathan Oakley.
Is it rude?
No.
Well, then go ahead.
So I've heard about you. Are you like one of those talk show guys like QE?
He's a talk show guy.
That's funny on multiple levels.
Well, I've seen you in here a couple of times, but like you rarely come in here, so I'm just wondering, like, are you one of the do you usually just do talk shows?
Yeah, I'm running a show. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Nathan, I linked you the video where you say there's no 24-hour sun.
Oh, you've dug it out. Did you want to give us it verbatim? Is that something within your means or abilities?
It's in the chat.
Is it within your means or ability to read it out verbatim or not?
So your mic does work. Go ahead and read it for him.
Give me a sec. I got it working.
Thank you very much. It might be some time, 10th. You go ahead while he's digging out my verbatim quote.
But we know for certain. I'm playing the video and speaking to you at the same time, okay? The sun that goes around us, in reality, both models. In one model, the heliocentric model,
it would necessitate having a 24-hour sun in the south. Further to the fact that we have a 24-hour sun in the north, we do not have a 24-hour sun in the south.
Can you say that again, but in English?
That was good enough. He's
Bro,
reading
I just told you I was.
He just told us. That was good enough. Yeah, contextually, after somebody told me that there wasn't one, having spent 18 months down there.
You go with permanent consequent, Mr. Oakley.
8 years ago, I would have been involved in this if it had been prevalent then. Had TFE existed before I personally instigated and ran a sun tracking event 9 years ago, I would have been involved in this if Duffy had beaten me to it 10 years ago. But while I'm discussing with a guy that said he didn't see one, I'm affirming what he's just told me and putting it into a false dichotomy that we now pull apart 10 years later, yes.
Oof, man. This is rough, though, talking about their model versus ours. I'm going to post it in chat now.
What are you going to do? Indict me for 10 years ago? Piss off.
No, it's funny, though.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations is 7 years.
There's no statute, right? I'm not saying I shouldn't be indictable. What I'm saying is, if you say, so 10 years ago, you basically bought into this fallacy. Yes. And what's your point?
Where'd you get that slide?
How dare you?
If you don't know, you don't know. He just didn't know then. Now he does. Can we deal with it now?
Yeah. Now I, on a daily, explain this fallacy to an audience that I've garnered since then. Back when I was tiny and had no subscription base whatsoever. No influence over anybody back then, but they're all telling me, oh, you've been saying this for years. What you mean, it's been published for years? Yeah. That doesn't mean I've been saying it for years, but they'll convolute what is actually the case because they need cope. But fine,
we're going to retroactively grandfather you back in with that model nonsense.
I see.
You should have known.
So, in other words,
When
once you get somebody to affirm that they understand their incorrect assertion about a globe projection, at the point that they concede, you then say, but retroactively, I can punish you for this forever, even though you concede how wrong you are at this moment. You will always be retroactively punishable for this offence. Correct?
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? You mean, no, that's entirely unreasonable.
You don't think that we're going to give you crap about this for the rest of your life?
Oh, because, yes, because obviously you'd need to do that because nobody else would be seeking this out from 8-year-old videos to do in some context that they need cope for. I think it'd be helpful if everybody did it.
I'm going to look it up, clip it, and start posting it everywhere.
Didn't hear that.
Hey,
As I recall, every time I heard you ever say it, you always brought up Robert Shortman's testimony.
Yeah. In other words, if somebody was to ask me about it, I'd lean into where I have my... I hesitate to use the word knowledge, but that's where I would cite it from. I've got first-hand testimony of a guy who spent 18 months down there would normally be the words that came out my lips. He says there wasn't one. Something to that effect. Now, surely, will they get the context where it's inappropriate for me to reference him because he's there with me, having just told me? So, bloody hell.
Look here, Nathan. If my mom can bring up for 45 years straight that she used to change my diapers, I can tease you about this.
Your mom used to have to wipe your ass, John. I'm going to point that out every time you do it.
Actually,
it's funny
John,
how the scripture strikes again. Damn is a man who trusts another man.
Dan is the man. What?
Damn is the man that trusts in another man.
That's profound.
Did you guys hear about Nick? Oh, go on, Tense.
I'll sneak my pun in again. I'll try it again.
Hey, 10th is trying to get in here. I'd suggest to let him in.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Ted.
Refractive curvature said something about diapers, and I said it depends.
Oh, brother. Had to be a pun, right? Over talking everyone. It's too late.
Well, you know what? 8 years ago, I said a pun, and now they're holding me to it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was trying to draw absurdity to it, but I don't know if that worked.
I'm going to round out. I just feel like
why?
Because I'm at that point where I just feel that sense of slight despair. Huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus Panels for making today's after show possible. Extra special thanks to Politics for making us so welcome as always, and for you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.